Hey, good people. Grits or cream of wheat? Who the hell is racist? Does anyone ever ask could they touch your hair?
Black Like Me.
You're listening to Black Like Me with Dr. Alex G., a podcast that invites you to experience the world through the perspective of one black man, one conversation, one story, or even one rant at a time. Here's Dr. G.
Black Like Me.
Hey, good people. I want to welcome you back to another exciting episode of Black Like Me with Dr. Alex G. Hey, I just want to say that I'm loving season 3. We're having more people talk back to me on my Dr. Alex G Facebook page. And so I just want to remind folks, this is meant to be interactive. This is not radio. This is a podcast. So you can tweet at me and you can write me notes on Facebook and you can make suggestions or let us know how much you love the show. Hey, and again, I want to thank all of the new listeners, people who are listening all over the world. And I just got to give another shout out once again to Iowa. I love the fact that you all are tuning in from Waterloo and Cedar Rapids. And for some reason, my podcast site is just grouping all of you together. So I know that Iowa is not just one community, but that's how they're doing it. But I need you, Iowans, to just talk back at me, tweet at me, or write on my Facebook page and say, hey, we're giving you a shout out from Des Moines or from Waterloo. Let me know where you're from. Eli Steenlich is my engineer, and he hails from Iowa. So I don't know if he's paying people out there to listen or folks are connecting with him. I don't know how, but I just want to appreciate that. I appreciate your listening in. Today I have a very, very exciting guest, and she hails from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but she lives here in Madison, and her name is Dr. Jasmine Zapata. Listen, I am known, many of my friends called me the Energizer Bunny. They ask me when I sleep. But listen, this woman, this professional gives me a run for my money. I mean, I look at what she's doing. I think, dang, I'm a slacker. And so she works at UW School of Medicine and Public Health, and just a brilliant scientist and thinker. She's an author. She's a board certified pediatrician. She's a preventive medicine and public health doctor. She's a public speaker. She's an entrepreneur. She's a health educator. She's a motivator. She's a mobilizer. She is a wife. She is a mom. She is ridiculously talented, and I am fortunate enough to have her here in the studio. Dr. Jasmine, good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. I'm just excited to be here.
Listen, I know you're so busy. I know you're probably Michelle Obama's personal doctor and all this kind of stuff. But I'm so glad that you're here. But you're also flanked by one of your interns this summer, and
yes.
So. And at the end of the show, I'm going to just kind of do a little check-in on Kayla as well. But Kayla is from Spelman and a future doctor.
Yes.
And so I'm just going to have her say hello a little bit later. But Dr. Jasmine, we have this thing that we do on Black Like Me, and it's called Black Icebreakers.
Okay.
Because, we want people to relax,
Yes.
So I want you to relax. You're at home right here.
Okay.
And also I got to say, I'm very proud. I have the pleasure of being Dr. Jasmine's pastor as well. And so I work with her and her family. And so I just got a couple of questions. They're not hard. They're not bad. And if you miss some of them, we're not going to black shame you or any of that kind of stuff. But this is just a big one. This is just a staple.
Okay.
Grits or cream of wheat?
Grits.
Thank you. Now,
with butter.
Now. Okay,
it has to have butter.
Okay. We good. We're sinking. We're right now. Now, Kayla's from the South, so she might judge us. With that butter, do you put salt or do you put sugar on your grits?
Salt. Yeah.
Producer, we're gonna do this. Can you please bring in Casey the juggling dog? Yeah, bring in Casey the juggling dog. We're gonna cut right to that segment right now. Oh my goodness! With the show of thumbs up or thumbs down, Kayla, do you agree with that or disagree with that? Okay, I'm a butter and sugar person on grits. But
I'll eat oatmeal with butter and sugar.
Got you.
But not grits.
Now, do you eat grits for breakfast or like later on for like I understand salt if you're gonna put grits in it. I mean shrimp in it. But like if you're gonna have it with eggs and toast and stuff, you'll put salt.
I'll eat it for breakfast, but if it's shrimp and grits, I'll eat it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Really?
Or anytime.
Have you ever tried it with sugar?
No. I think I did once.
I will give you a Starbucks gift card if you try. But here's what I do. You gotta get them piping hot. You put the butter on it. Now you put a little salt to season it. But you put sugar in it. Then you have your scrambled eggs
You have
next to it.
sugar and salt.
Well,
Mix that
salt
together?
just to season a little
Just
bit,
a
so it's
little
not so
bit?
bland. But then you mix your scrambled eggs up, and then you break your bacon over it.
Oh.
Now, if you this is what we used to do when we were kids. Then you break your toast up over it as well.
Okay.
They call them like breakfast bowls now. We just call it breakfast, but they're a breakfast bowl. Okay, I got
I'll
you.
try it if you give me a gift.
I'm gonna give you
gift card.
I'll give you a gift card. All right. Do you know who Penny Proud is?
I vaguely remember that, but I didn't watch it that much.
Got you. Okay, you can use a lifeline because Kayla's
Yes,
in
I'll
office.
use my lifeline.
Kayla, do you know who Penny Proud is?
Absolutely.
Who's Penny Proud?
I can't remember exactly which character she was, but I definitely remember the Proud Family.
She was a Proud Family. What was her grandmother? Do you remember she had a grandmother? Do you remember
I
grandmama?
can see her face, but I cannot remember her name.
Sugar Mama.
Sugar Mama. It sure
So
was.
kids love this. So my daughter's about your age. They loved it because it was sort of like My Fat Albert, where you had kids, you had cartoons that looked like you. So I love that. Do you know what Now and Laters?
Yes,
are?
definitely.
What are Now and
The
Laters?
little square chewy candies. I loved them. And
know
I
what?
always get it stuck in my teeth.
Yeah, they get you stuck in your teeth. What's your favorite flavor?
Watermelon.
Watermelon's good. I like the orange ones.
The
When I was-
green ones too.
Yeah. The green
apple ones.
Yeah, it's so funny. Black people call them by the color
They
and not by
don't
the
sell
flavor.
those anymore?
They say, like she said, the green one.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Oh, the red
like
ones.
we eat red Kool-Aid. We want some red pop. We don't say cherry or anything. Red, grape.
Yeah.
But when we were kids, we just call them Now and Laters. I was grown. I mean, I was almost an adult when I said, "Oh, now and eat some now,
Oh.
save some for the later."
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, it's Now and Later.
And save some for later.
Got you, Kayla. Are those still around? Is that part of? I mean, does your younger generation eat Now and Laters?
I don't know.
They don't even. How could they not know what Now and Laters are? We got to help Lord save the children. Jasmine, can you swim?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
I can. I can swim. I can.
When you, as a kid, did you get timeouts or did you get a butt whooping?
Mostly timeouts, but I did get some whoopings. And I remember them specifically exactly what the situation was.
You got some timeouts though. Miss Julie don't seem like she would do a timeout. Look like she would do a knockout, but she
I
get
got a mixture.
You got a mixture.
I got a mixture,
it's
but
it's beyond the statute of limitations. She can't go to jail,
Right,
so you can tell. You know you got them.
I
Listen. You don't go to medical school without getting a butt whooping. If you're a black woman growing up,
Right. So I definitely got a couple.
Gotcha. Do you know what cocoa butter is?
Yes.
Are
I
there-
need some right now
Do
for
you?
my ankles.
I was going to ask you, are there any, I always ask this question, are there any, I always tell this joke, not a joke, it's true. I live in Fitchburg.
Yep.
And so I went to the Walgreens Fitchburg for cocoa butter, and they sent me down this aisle. It was not cocoa butter. I said, no, it comes in a stick. They looked at me like they didn't know what I was talking about. I went to the Walgreens on Park Street. In the black community, they had $3-4. And so how do you go from one Walgreens not knowing what it is to the other having them on sale? Are there any
Yeah.
medical properties in cocoa butter?
Probably. I got to look into that, but it probably has some type of properties that can soothe the skin and
But you need it for your- you
rejuvenate
said you need it for your ankles,
I need
right?
some. My mom gets so mad at me. She's like, "Why you walk out the house with your ashy ankles?"
Oh.
But sometimes I forget because I'm in
Cocoa
such
butter.
a rush. But I need some right now.
So you like cocoa butter for ashy ankles better than Vaseline?
Yes.
Really?
I do. I like the cocoa butter better because the Vaseline makes everything so slippery
Gotcha.
and super shiny. And
Really
the cocoa butter
shiny.
is like, it's nice and moist, but it's not like you just
Gotcha.
shining.
So we grew up in the 70s. We like to shine. You know, you go out disco in and you got all them lights and then you shine. People see you.
Yeah.
And so
I prefer cocoa
Cocoa
butter
butter.
than Vaseline.
Miracle Whip or mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise. Oh, mayonnaise.
Oh, when you were growing up,
Don't
did
like
you,
Miracle
you
Whip.
do not
I
like
got so mad when I would get Miracle Whip on my
that's sad.
sandwiches.
You're like, don't redo this. When you were growing up, did you have relatives who put plastic on their living room furniture?
Yes. Yes.
Really? Who? Your grandparents?
They did once, and I had some other cousins that did. And then at our house, growing up, my mom, there was this one room. She didn't put plastic furniture. We just weren't allowed in the room to
Right.
sit or just even be in there.
I need my non-black listeners to tweet at me or talk to me on my Facebook page. Is that just a black thing where you have these rooms that you can't even go into it? I don't know if it's like the sitting room or the parlor. My grandma used to call one of them rooms the front room.
Yeah.
But so this room was set up, but you all were not allowed to go
Yep,
in.
it had white carpet, this beautiful
Yes.
white couches and mirrors. It was
And mirrors.
very special occasions. Maybe we could go in there.
but for the most part, you could.
I thought everybody did that.
No, really believe that's it. I'm finding I've been surprised at some of our white. I'll play black icebreakers with some of my white guests, and some of them will say, "Yeah, my grandparents did," but almost every black person will say, "Oh yeah, my aunt. Oh yeah, my grandma. They had this room, and then in the summertime you stick to it, and you be like, shh,
Yes.
when you get up." Oh,
Yes.
oh my goodness. And last one, this is not necessarily a black icebreaker, but I just wanted to ask you this: do you believe in aliens?
I honestly think that somewhere super far away, there's some little ant crawling in another galaxy, and we just haven't discovered it yet. So I believe it. Yes.
Okay,
I
good.
believe in
Okay, I
aliens.
think something's out there too. Do you believe that everybody has a
Doppelganger.
Doppelganger.
Thank you.
No, I watched Flash, and I love that show, and that has a lot of doppelgangers.
But you don't
I
think
don't
it-
believe that.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Kayla, do you?
Well, they do say you have about like 7 people around the world that look very similar to you. So,
And are they the same
it's
ethnicity? So like,
possibility.
so I'm wondering. So is there like a white Kayla out there someplace, or a white Alex, or a white Jasmine?
I don't think
My
so.
doppelganger.
I don't know.
What's it called again?
Doppelganger. You said it right.
Yeah. Mine's Korean. That's what I'm hoping.
Why?
Because those are my friends. those are my people. Oh my goodness. So Dr. Jasmine, I'm really glad that you are here. I've known that I wanted to have you on the show for such a long time. And first of all, we just talk in passing because you are so doggone busy. But again, author, board certified pediatrician, preventive medicine and public health doctor, speaker, entrepreneur, best-selling author. You've got 2 books that are out, multiple streams of income. The second is Beyond Beautiful.
And 3.
Three?
She
Oh.
Conquered.
Oh, She Conquered.
Yeah.
When did that come out?
That one came out in 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
So was that your second book?
Yeah, the first one was Multiple Streams of
Stream.
Income, a collaboration book.
All right.
And then the second one was She Conquered, with women from all over the United States talking about overcoming obstacles. And then in 2017 came
Beyond
out
Beautiful.
with Beyond Beautiful.
A Girl's Guide to Unlocking the Power of Inner Beauty, Self-Esteem, Resilience, and Courage. My
Yes.
first question is, when do you sleep?
Actually, that is a great question. Everybody always asks me that, like, Dr. Jasmine, when do you sleep? And actually, I get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night.
So you listen to Steve Harvey. Obviously you don't listen to Steve Harvey.
No, I didn't hear his comments about sleep, but I do sleep. But here's the thing.
7 to 9?
7 to 9 hours.
At home or at work?
At home.
Okay.
But here's the thing. When the day is over, whatever I got done, I'm just done. I'm going to sleep, and then I'll finish the next day. So I might be behind on like my emails, or something might be a little behind the deadline, or I might not have washed the clothes for that day.
Sure.
But when the night's over, I get my
it's
sleep.
over.
So that's I'm glad you asked that question, because everybody always asks me, you never sleep, but I actually do sleep. I fall asleep a lot of times putting the baby to sleep. And then I'll wake up in the middle of the night because I'm still breastfeeding my youngest one.
So you're a mother of 3.
Mother of 3.
Gorgeous
yes.
kids.
Yes.
You
I
and
know.
Mike have some kids. You all
Thank
have some
you.
beautiful kids.
Thank you. So,
I threatened to kidnap a couple of
kill.
them.
You
Not
can-
Amira Grace. I thought I
you can
wanted to have them,
kidnap
but she's
for
kind of
a day or
feisty.
two, then give 'em back.
Be like, please, I'll pay you to bring them back.
Yeah. So I do get sleep, but sometimes I just
Sure.
finish the next day.
So when you were a young girl growing up,
Yes.
did you want to be an author? Did you want to be a doctor? Did you want to be a public speaker, an entrepreneur? All the above? What's the earliest thing you remember wanting to be?
Yes. Specifically, I remember when I was 5 years old, I said I wanted to be a doctor.
At 5?
At 5 years old. And we actually have proof, because my mom and my grandmother gave me this book to keep during elementary school, where every year, kindergarten through 5th grade, you would put a picture of yourself. You would put who your best friend was that year, your favorite subject,
Sure.
your highlight of the year. And then at the very bottom, you had to write in what you wanted to be when you grow up. So ever since kindergarten, I checked the doctor box, and I kept checking that every single year. So we have proof. Ever since I was
Wow.
5 years old, I want to be a doctor. I didn't think of being an author yet and everything else that's opened up, but I knew
But
I
you
wanted to be a doctor since I was 5.
Do you remember why? I mean, are you the first physician in your family?
Yes.
Did you have black doctors growing up?
Yes, I did, but not when I don't think when I
Not
was
when
5.
not when you were 5.
Yeah, but there was a black doctor in Milwaukee. I don't remember interacting with her because I was so little, but there was a black doctor that I had for the first couple years growing up. My mom tells me about her, but I don't remember her.
And your mom nurtured you in that area too. I mean, I think you and I have had a conversation. I don't know if it was summer programming or something,
Yeah.
but there were some things that really helped to nurture
Yes.
your desire to become a physician, right?
All my family was so supportive, and they when I was younger, they told me that you can be that. They didn't make it like that was weird, that was my aspiration. It wasn't until I got into like high school where even counselors, or I would hear outside people telling me like, oh, it's too hard to become a doctor. You can't do it.
Wait, even counselors told you that?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. I'm sorry.
Right.
Oh, heck no.
Yeah.
Really? Now, my daughter, Lexi, wanted to be a doctor. She said she wanted to be a veterinarian or a pediatrician when she was younger. But she never laid eyes on Black physician. I wish you had come into our lives about 15 years ago. And because I think she has the aptitude to do it. And but as she got older, like she didn't like some of the sciences. Yeah. She didn't like math, but she still did well in it. But her chemistry teacher was a woman, and she told us at a parent-teacher conference, she says, your daughter has a mind for sciences. Do not let her back off of them. She may not like it, but she has the critical thinking that's required. So I love the fact that you got support in that, and that you have this brilliant young lady sitting next to you, Kayla from Spelman, who's modeling you and seeing this, so that when people start saying whatever it is they say, they can, she has something to combat it with. Yep. And now this is just a crazy question, but I've always wanted to ask people this. Is medical school hard?
That's a great question. It's definitely hard, but it depends. Yeah, it was definitely hard. To me, it was easier than undergrad.
See, I knew you were going to say that's because you're brilliant.
No,
okay, I'm going to say
it was
this.
easier than
you
undergrad,
would not say
but it was
this.
hard.
You need to say this. And Kayla, I want to let you know, because she's becoming your mentor. This woman is a savant. She has off the chart intelligence and emotional sensitivities. And so anytime somebody sits up and looks you straight in the eye and says, oh yeah, medical school was easier than, English lit, art history. So tell me why medical school is easier.
Why I thought it was
because you're more focused.
Because if you follow in life what your burning passion is, and you're walking in your purpose, that's why I say it was easier. So in undergrad, for example, I had to take like all those classes. Like I hate history classes, which I feel bad to say that, because I know we're doing a lot with the Black history stuff. Right. I just didn't enjoy the history classes, probably because they weren't teaching us enough Black history. But I didn't like history classes.
Makes sense.
Did not like writing essays and citing sources.
And now you're a writer.
I hate writing essays. Yeah, which is weird, but I just didn't enjoy it that much. But I loved the science classes. I loved dissecting cadavers, and I loved anatomy, physiology. So when you get into medical school, you can just solely focus on learning how to interact with patients, learning communication, being at those patient experiences, and then doing science classes. So to me, I say it was easier because it was more enjoyable, and it was me getting closer to my purpose versus undergrad. So that makes
really good sense. What motivated you as a kid?
Ooh. What motivated me? There was a lot of things that motivated me, but one of the things that I don't talk about this that much, but one of the things that really motivated me to continue on my dreams of becoming a doctor was related to my little brother. So he was diagnosed with epilepsy, seizures, when he was in elementary school. And I'll never forget, he was admitted to the Children's Hospital in Milwaukee overnight, and they were running all these tests on him to try to figure out what was going on. And I remember the doctors were in the room, and at one point I had to step out of the room. And at that time I was only like maybe 11, 12 years old. So I was a kid, like I kind of understood what was going on, kind of didn't. And he was my world. We were just 4 years apart. And I remember when they were trying to figure it all out, just wanting to be in that conversation with those doctors, figuring it out, like taking it on as my own responsibility.
At 11 years old.
Yes.
Wow.
And so I think that that might have fueled a little bit of fire in me. Like, I need to be part of this huddle, figuring out what's going on with my brother.
Wow.
So I think that impacted me.
Sure. I think you're right in it. I can see that fueling you wanting to get more answers. Or even how to communicate with folks differently. So, okay, so let me just back up a little bit. And just, I remember when you were in medical school, Amira Grace was born prematurely. She was born
25 and 0.
That's right. So she was, how old? How much did she weigh?
1.5 pounds.
Exactly. So that's smaller than Lexi. Like Lexi was like right around at 1 pound, 8 ounces. And so you were in medical school pregnant with your second child. MJ
Yeah.
was how old when you?
1.5.
Okay, so he was 1.5 when you were starting. First of all, you and Mike are crazy. Just the stuff that y'all take on, and he gets so much credit too because I love seeing him being supportive
Yes.
of you and
He
being a
does.
loving dad with his kids.
does.
And I love seeing all. I love seeing your
Yeah.
family together. So then, Amira was in the incubator for what 12, 14?
For 3 months.
For 3 months. Did you resume medical school?
Ooh, so let me tell you
I'm
this
trying to remember
story.
because it's kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew you during this time.
Yeah.
Um.
So I'll tell you the story and I'll put it all in context
Sure.
real quick
Sure. No,
since
you're
we
good.
have a little time.
Sure.
So me and Mike were high school sweethearts. We started dating when I was 16.
Okay.
We got married when I was 19.
I didn't know you were that young.
Yes,
Okay.
we dated 3 long years and then we got married between freshman and sophomore year of college when I was only 19.
Okay.
And so then the next year, my brother actually passed away in his sleep.
Okay.
We think it was related to complications of epilepsy, but we're not entirely sure.
You're
But
still
he
not
passed
sure.
away. Still not exactly sure, but we think it was something called sudden unexpected death in epilepsy.
And your brother's first name was?
Aaron.
Aaron,
And he
thank you.
died when he was 16.
Okay.
So I'm in college. I was glad that I got married young because I had that support system there,
course.
and my brother Aaron got to kind of see that I had somebody to take care of me. We didn't know he was going to pass away the next year. So he passed away my junior year in college, right before I was going to take the medical school admissions test, like 3 months before.
Okay.
And at that time, I had 2 choices. I could either give up or keep going, but with the help of my loved ones, my family, God, I was able to make it through because I knew it's like my brother bragged all the time. Jazzy, he called me Jazzy.
Sure.
She's going to be a doctor. He was so proud. So I knew I have to keep pushing to be a doctor for him.
Sure.
So that was during junior year of college. So then a couple months later, I got pregnant with my son and I had him senior year of college. So then I get into medical school. And then second year of medical school, I got pregnant again. So I was excited, my second child. And when she was born premature, that was extremely hard on us.
Of course.
Because my brother had just passed away 3 years ago, not even almost, just 3 years ago. Our family was still fragile and healing. So to have this little baby in the world, my family, it was so hard. It's like, we cannot go through another death. It's so difficult. So anyway, so when she was born, so all back to the question of like, did I stay in medical school? She was so ill. The doctors were telling me, you can't just sit here every single day and just stare at her in the incubator because you'll drive yourself crazy just worrying. Go back to work, resume your job. And I was like, oh my, okay, my job.
Jackie and I had to do that too. And Lexi was little. You're right. You have to move. You have to do something.
So my job was being a medical student. So I would bring my flashcards and stuff. I would be at the hospital doing flashcards, studying. My medical student friends came to the hospital and would do study groups with me. So actually studying and staying in medical school was a coping way for me. So I actually graduated right on time in the 4 years of medical school.
Ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Because it's so powerful. So you graduated on time with your class.
Yep.
And then of course Amira Grace is fine. You would look at this beautiful young girl and not think that she was a pound and a half when she was born. She is feisty and smart and so cute.
She is. And so I'm so blessed. So part of that too, of graduating on time, and when that happened in the context of everything that had gone on with like me, I was so determined to reach my goals where it was like, this is not going to stop me. I have to do this because it's a legacy that I'm carrying. It's not only for me, it's for my future generations. It's for my brother. It's to break the chains of generational curse of poverty that's been over my family. It's for my grandfather, who was a pastor for many years, but was discriminated against, and had to go in the colored bathroom. Like, all of this was for my family and generation line. So I had to, it wasn't an option. I had to finish. So that's to answer your question.
First of all, that's beautiful. And you are such a proud reminder, Dr. Jasmine, that education is our best revenge.
Yep.
That understanding what your grandfather experienced, your grandmother experienced, and what people of color, African American people experience, that education is the way out.
Yep.
So for our friends who are educators, who work with educators, we cannot lower the bar for our children.
Yes.
Because education is how you practice discipline. It's how
Yep.
you set goals. It's how you overcome, and it's how you equip yourself to deal with a crazy world. Because I'm sure you still walk in the rooms and people think you're the CNA.
Yep, that happens. Just
Right. And we want right.
a couple
It
months
happens.
ago.
Right. Right. And I won't even take it because I have too many things I want to talk about that are positive. But just I want people to
Yes.
understand with all of this stuff.
Yep.
This is really crazy. Was Wisconsin your first choice for medical school?
It actually was. It was my first choice.
Now, were you admitted to other schools?
Yeah.
What medical school did you turn down to go to Madison?
So the
Rumor mill says that you turned down Harvard Medical School.
Yes, I did. So it was funny that
Dang, you a bad girl.
I wanted to come here because of School of Medicine and Public Health. That really drew me to Madison because it was more than just medicine, but public health. And my counselor at Marquette, I went to Marquette for undergrad. She basically dared me. She forced me to apply to Harvard. She was like, girl, you better apply. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I just put in the application.
I'll apply to Harvard Med.
Because I applied there and I thought it was like, okay, it's a joke. I'm just going to apply. So then I actually got an interview. So I was like, oh, okay, let me just go to this interview. Free trip. Let me just go to the interview. And then I actually was in labor with my son in senior year of college. And when the day I brought him back from the hospital, I looked in the mailbox and it was this letter from Harvard like, oh, you got accepted. I was like, oh, this is just too much. But ultimately, yes, I turned him down because I just didn't feel that I fit in there. And also I knew that this was my destiny to be here at UW School of Medicine and Public Health. And I'm glad I came. So yes,
I'm so
turned
glad
down
you
Harvard.
came. So then you finished medical school.
Yeah.
Then you went back to school for another degree.
Yeah. So after medical school, I decided that I wanted to go into the field of pediatrics.
Yes.
Because especially with what happened with my daughter, I was like, I just know I'm going to be a neonatologist. I'm going to be a doctor that specializes in critically ill babies. And also the power of pediatrics is that you're like a time traveler. That's how I look at myself.
Sure.
I during medical school, there were so many occasions of older patients who had lung cancer or emphysema or problems that stemmed from things in their childhood. And I would say, if I could have met this man when he was 12 years old and got him to not pick up that first cigarette, I could have changed the trajectory of his whole entire life.
Of course.
And so that's what drew me into pediatrics.
Wow.
Because you're molding, it's just powerful. And but then when I was in pediatrics, after I was in that field, I realized there's still so much that upstream determinants and social determinants of health that I can't control just when in the hospital and clinics.
Sure.
So then after my pediatrics training, I decided to become a preventive medicine and public health doctor. So I went back to school for that and I got my master's in public health and my preventive medicine board certification.
Wow. Wow. You're still a mother.
Yep.
A wife, doing things in the community.
Hey everybody, we hope you've been enjoying this episode so far. My name's Tyler Nyland. I am the podcast manager for Black Like Me, and I wanted to let you know about an opportunity that you have if you've been looking to really gain better access and hear more about what we're doing with Black Like Me. We have an opportunity called Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/blacklikeMe, you can find our page where we offer a lot of different opportunities for you to get involved or to join us in this work. So if you go on there, you'll see a bunch of different tiers that you can join, where you can become financial supporters. And with each different tier, you get an opportunity to receive different benefits from us, such as you might be a part of one where you get your name shouted on a podcast, you get a specific thank you. You might be able to join an exclusive Facebook group where you're able to process through different issues together. And then for a certain level, you even could get Dr. G to come out and fly out to you to have a meal. If you're a business, he might be able to do a whole day of consulting for you. So if you would go to patreon.com/blacklikeMe, you can check out all the different tiers and options that we are able to give you. And you can really just support the mission of what we do here at Black Like Me. So we want to thank you for being a listener. That's awesome. Please go to patreon.com/blacklikeMe. If you have any other questions, go to alexg.com/contact to fill out the form for a Black Like Me insurance. Now back to the episode.
And so you are a holistic community influencer. That's how I describe you. Now, not only am I Jasmine's pastor, but she works for my nonprofit, Nehemiah. So you and your mother lead a children's choir,
Yes.
a youth choir in the community.
Yes.
Because you really have this broad concept of healing extending beyond the hospital walls.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about the fact that you're the most qualified employee I have. You have an MD and an MPH, but there's a part of your healing work that takes place without your white jacket or your stethoscope. Tell me a little bit about why it's important to you as a healer, as a health professional, to work in a community with young girls and boys. Outside the hospital.
It's so incredibly important. One statistic that I always say over and over and over everywhere I go, it's based on county health rankings model, but basically only about 20% of health outcomes is based on what happens in the hospital and clinic.
20%.
20%. And the other 80% is based on your own personal health behaviors, social economic status, and your environment. So I went to school I was in school for like 25 years, starting from kindergarten, just so much school. Because I was like, when I'm a doctor, because remember, ever since I was 5 years old, I thought that was the answer. Like, what better way to impact health outcomes, change people's lives than be a doctor? But then when I saw those statistics, like, what? I'm only impacting 20% of people's life expectancy, quality of life by just working in the clinics and hospital with my white coat in the clinic. I have to get outside the clinic walls because there's so much that impacts it. If you tell a kid like, oh, exercise so you won't be obese, but what if they go and they're living in an unsafe neighborhood? Their parents are facing mental health issues or other things like that. They don't have the finances, or they're going through bullying at school, so they can't. There's so much that we need to get outside of the hospital walls to influence. So that's what drives a lot of my work when I work with the community choir, when I'm singing, when I'm rapping, when I'm writing books, when I'm all over the place. It's all because that's really where the healing work is done. That's
fantastic. Are you an anomaly among physicians by the fact that you're so rooted in the community? And you still have your health provider hat on? Is that somewhat unique? Let's just say your peers here in Madison.
I would honestly say with my peers here in Madison that I am unique, and I'm just now coming to the place where I feel that I'm really walking in my purpose, and people are starting to understand me a little bit more, because with a lot of my peers, traditional medicine is kind of like you work in the hospital and clinics, you publish papers to some fancy journals, and that's it. So a lot of, as I was coming up these last 10 years, a lot of people kind of looked at me a little like, oh, you're just doing that nice little community work, and kind of brushed it to the side, or it wasn't validated. And people were like, what are you doing? You're out here doing sleepovers and dancing with the girls, and what are you doing? But now
Get your stethoscope.
Right. But this is innovative public health and preventive strategies and tools, because if we can pour into the young people and empower them, this is preventing all of the poor health outcomes that they're gonna see 20, 30 years later.
Sure. And what's so beautiful about what you do and what you're promoting, Dr. Jasmine, is that people give up on young folks because of their impoverished backgrounds, because of their socioeconomic status. And again, they lower the bar. I love the fact that you push young people. And I love the fact that you see the good that's in them, because people they would rather for us to maybe forget about the real troublemakers or those that are struggling, and let's reach for another generation. But your actions continue to remind us that if this generation behind us, or a generation or two behind us, if they don't make it, it is our fault and not their fault for not bringing them out. I was at we were having a fundraising luncheon or something, I think, and you were there with some of the participants in your choir, and those young people started talking about how you've taught them to identify signs of suicidal tendencies or depression in their peers, and you're really helping them to become peer support to their other friends. That is really powerful. When I know the story of some of these children, where it would be very easy just to focus on their own brokenness, their own poverty, their own situation. But you're teaching them at a very early age to care for someone else. I think part of what's wrong with society, irrespective of the color or ethnicity, is that we are so focused on our own good, our own pleasure, our own success, that we don't see ourselves as a community. So as a health professional, I love the fact that you're talking to children about very real things, that you've demystified what it means to be a physician because they can talk to you, but you're helping them to talk about things like depression and suicide to each other. I think that's phenomenal.
We have to do that.
Right.
There's no excuse. We have to do that because there's kids young as 9-10 years old killing themselves. It's all over the news. And the rates now of young Black kids that are completing suicide, that number is increasing.
I heard a statistic last week from my sister, you know, Lolita. She said that for young Black girls between 11 and 13 or somewhere in there, suicide is the third largest killer. Yeah, and
it's on the rise. It used to be, which was really interesting, it used to be that white males were the highest number that would actually carry through and complete suicide, and they were saying like young black girls were the lowest rates of completed suicide, and a lot of people were speaking to that as like the resilience that Black women have, but recently that number is actually going up with young Black girls that are going through a suicide. And so it's something where it's like, it's not an option not to talk about this. We have to talk about it as young as 8, 9, 10 years old, and to hear their stories of like, my friend said they want to kill themselves, they're cutting and things like that. We have to talk about it and empower them, because those babies that I'm working with, they're on the battlefront, on the front lines. So they're going to hear those things before their peers even come to the hospital. So they have so much power.
Yes. I'm going to come back to you, Dr. Jasmine, with a couple of questions. But Kayla, you're here I assume for the summer here in Madison, and you're from Spelman, as I said earlier. I think did you say you're from Virginia?
I am.
You're from Virginia. Okay, we're from Virginia. What year are you in undergrad, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm a rising sophomore.
Rising sophomore. Okay, I like that. And so you're spending the summer here. Did you know that you're going to be kicking it with a rock star when you came to Madison?
I mean, I assumed this person was going to be amazing, but now I'm seeing just how the extent of how great she is. Yes. And I'm honestly blessed. No, I am blessed. Definitely. I really am. Yes. And I've only been here for 2 days.
2 days. 2 days. She got you up early this morning, bringing you to the radio station.
It's almost overwhelming just hearing all these things about her. And, before I met her, Miss Robinson, the director of my program, she was saying, this woman, she's amazing. You're going to have an amazing summer with her.
It expands your thinking. I am really appreciative that you get to see another African-American woman as a scientist, a thinker, a public figure, an innovator. Again, my daughter's doing well. She's starting a master's program in library science. She loves kids, but the importance of role modeling is so key. And I could imagine down the road, Kayla, that when you're practicing medicine, that you're going to remember this experience and bring other folks, not just African-Americans, but particularly African-American women who just need to see someone who's doing this, and you're taking it all in stride too. She's not saying I hate this. There are all these glass ceilings. These white men don't want me up in here, and some of that might be true from day to day. But she's so focused on her game that she can't afford to focus on what folks aren't doing, because so much is within her reach. And so I know that's got to be inspiring for you.
Definitely.
Are you interested? What do you know yet? What area of medicine you may be interested in? I know it's so early.
Yeah, I honestly don't.
Gotcha.
I have a little bit of an interest in everything. Sure. So right now I'm just trying to narrow down the options and see where I fit.
That's really good. And so, are you able to follow her on rounds too, as she's seeing patients?
I will. Towards the end of the summer.
It's just been 2 days, but you will be able to do that in the summer.
We got plans for her.
I know you do.
She was yesterday meeting Miss Jackie Hunt. She's working with the Goodman Community Center. She's working with Aaron Perry at the Men's Health Center. She's I got her volunteering at Juneteenth. She got a lot of plans. We're talking about nonprofit and social entrepreneurship. We got a lot of stuff planned. So,
Kayla, I hope you brought your vitamins with you. Whatever the young adult version of Geritol is, I hope that you taking it or drinking aloe vera water or putting cocoa butter on your forehead or your ankles or something, because Dr. Jasmine's no joke. So Dr. Jasmine, what does the future look like to you? You're 32 years old, or in your early 30s, and you're doing all of these things. I mean, to be quite honest, someone at retirement age could look at your resume and say, I've had a very full life, and you've got more years to practice medicine, if you wanted to, than you've been alive. So, what does the future look? Let's go down 20 years. What would you love to be if we could wave a magic stethoscope?
This is a good question.
What would you like to be? What would life look like for you?
One thing that I want to pause and say before I even answer that question, and I think it helps people understand me a little bit more.
Sure.
The comment that you mentioned of you have more years, 30 years, 20 years. Well, I heard once from a great pastor that is in Madison and Fountain of Life that tomorrow is not promised.
Sure.
And that really drives me because my brother, he was 16 years old when he just went to bed and didn't wake up the next day. And so a lot of what I do is kind of like, I don't know. Am I going to have
Carpe
20,
diem,
30 years?
seize the day.
I hope that. And I'm decreeing and declaring and praying I'm lived into my hundreds. But you don't know. So a lot of the things that I do, it's like there is no tomorrow. It's like if that was placed in my heart to birth into the earth, I'm going to do it right now. So that's one thing that drives me a little bit when people are like, why are you doing so much? It's kind of like, because I have this that God is putting in my heart. I need to birth it because tomorrow's not promised. You don't know your future.
So live it out fully today.
Exactly. So that's just one point. But based on everything going as planned, yes, I will be living a long, healthy, wealthy life. Some of my dreams are to be able to own multiple real estate properties, commercial property, multifamily homes, so I can create a legacy for my family, but then I can also support the community.
Gotcha.
That's one of my biggest dreams.
I love it.
Be a real estate mogul. That's one of my of my dreams.
That's going to happen.
Yes. That
is going to happen.
So that's one of the things because I love the fact with a lot of the nonprofit work and the things going on, like grants. I'm getting good at grant writing and asking for donors. But one thing that really, really bothers me, and I can say this because we're on the Black Like Me podcast, what I don't like that I'm seeing is so many Black organizations having to go to large white driven and run organizations.
Don't bite your tongue. Talk free.
To beg for money.
Right.
And I want to see where we in our community own massive, massive wealth, have our own endowments and things like that and wealth so that we can take that and we can support each other.
That's a great vision.
So that's one of my visions that I want to be able to have that where I can be like, oh, you want to build a new center? You need Pastor Alex, you need $5 million? I got it. I got you. Here, let me just write a check.
Let it be, Lord. Let it be, Lord.
So you want to build that? You want to do this? Like that's one of my dreams, that I could be a philanthropist in some powerful ways.
Sure.
So that's one of my dreams. I also want to continue practicing clinically, but I never want to be one of the doctors that's working 100 hours a week, never get to see your family and things. And I'm really, really blessed because the way that I shaped my career and even accepting the faculty position at UW School of Medicine Public Health, I just work in the clinic 50% time, and the rest of my time, I already am living my dreams. I get to do community-based research and teaching and stuff. So I only work Monday and Tuesday seeing patients and 1 week in a month, and then the rest of the time is like community-based research and empowerment stuff.
So you don't wear a pager?
No, only Monday, Tuesday.
And then you get to do the community work. When I met you, you said, I want to run a community center or provide community health services. I mean, really, by your books, your workshops, your mentoring, you're building the infrastructure of that. I mean, as a future real estate mogul, you'll eventually have the physical space. But you're really developing the programs and the concept of that. Right.
And it's almost like I'm kind of building that, but I'm not limited to one building, because that's kind of what I want. I want to be able to go around to work with different nonprofits, different people, and be everywhere, kind of like infiltrate many spaces. So eventually it would be awesome to have some huge youth empowerment center, but
you're doing it.
It's kind of like I'm not contained to one space. I want to infiltrate lots of different spaces and collaborate together.
You're a youth empowerment center without walls.
Yes, that's what it is.
Who do you look out at in the world, whether it's in politics or Hollywood or entertainment? Who do you look at and say, wow, that woman's on the move or that man's on the move, and you're inspired somehow by what they do, and you can't say Oprah?
I would honestly say Michelle Obama.
Okay.
That's somebody that I just dream I want to meet one day.
Oh, that's going to happen too.
Yes. And
she needs to meet you.
Yes, she needs to meet me. We got plans. If you're listening, Michelle Obama, please come meet me and we can collaborate and do some stuff together. Right. We can collaborate on that next book.
And if you're listening to Black Like Me, Michelle Obama, please hit that subscribe button and share it with your husband. All right, keep going, Dr. Jasmine.
So she inspires me just because of all the work that she does with young people and the fact of being the first Black first lady. That just was so inspiring, and what she's doing with her books and her tours.
And she's talking a lot about health with young people, obesity and those kinds of things.
Yeah, she's someone that I'm like, she's doing some amazing things.
Gotcha. Couple last questions. This time has gone by too quickly. I'm hoping that listeners here will share this episode with young Black girls who have said that they want to be doctors. And so what's your 15-second message to young Black girls who want to be doctors or anything that's out of the norm? What's your message to those young girls?
Yes. Let me tell them. I would tell them the Beyond Beautiful message. Beyond Beautiful means that you're more than what people just see on the outside, what they might judge you or look at you on the outside. Your true beauty is within. You're courageous, resilient, confident, creative. You are talented, intelligent, unique, and innovative. You're worth it. You deserve it. You are treasured. You are loved, and you deserve every blessing that is coming from above. That's the Beyond Beautiful declaration right there. And I would say that you reaching your dreams is not just for you. It's for the thousands of people that you're going to one day touch. So don't give up.
That is so beautiful. Well, you know what? I'm going to end on that note. I can't add anything else to that. Wow. Wow. So listen, it has been so great to have you here. Dr. Jasmine Zapata.
Thank you.
She is from Milwaukee, but she's now living in Madison, Wisconsin, an entrepreneur, board certified pediatrician, all the things that I've said, community advocate, and highly respected here in Madison, Wisconsin. I am glad that Dr. Gloria Hawkins was an advisor in the medical school who encouraged you to find your way here. I'm glad that you found your way to her. And for those of you who are part of this family, share this with someone, because you know a young lady of color, really of any background, but just share this message, because we need to hear folks doing all of these things. And Dr. Jasmine didn't pick or choose, okay, I'll be a mom, but I can't be a doctor. I'll be a doctor, can't be a mom. She just said, you know what, give me the menu, let me pick what I want, and didn't let the thoughts of others limit her. There are going to be all sorts of links on with this podcast so that you can buy her books, because she has 3 that are out. I want you to buy. Are you still accepting speaking engagements, Dr. Jasmine?
Definitely.
So there's going to be a link so you can find out how to get her to speak. She has a YouTube channel and other kinds of social network outlets. And so we're going to give you a link so that you can follow her.
Yes.
And just a shout out to your brother for his motivation of you, your mother for her care of you and nurturing that. And I hope Madison and the School of Medicine realize how really fortunate, blessed, and lucky that we are to have you here. And sometime down the future, maybe when your next book comes out or something like that, I'd love to have you back. But thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you so much. It was so amazing being here.
Thank you. And Kayla, thank you for being here as well.
Thank you.
And best of luck in your future, because I know it's very, very bright. And that's why you were connected with this person, to just spark that extra excitement inside of you. So folks, continue to share the message. There are people who still they love listening to the podcast, but they're not certain on how do you really subscribe. And so help your friends, share the podcast, but help them to know, how to download it, how to listen. And if all else fails, go to alexg.com. You can click on the podcast button and you can listen to all the podcasts right there. All right, you all go out there and have a great day. And thank you for being part of the Black Like Me family. I want to thank Corey Saffold and Marcus Fleming for creating the music for this podcast, my podcast manager, Tyler Nyland, my engineer, Eli Steenledge, my editor, Jeremy Holliday, and our intro and outro are recorded by Cynthia Woodland. And a special thank you to WORT Studios, where we record Black Like Me.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. You can find out more about Dr. Alex G's amazing work at www.alexg.com. Black Like Me is sponsored by the generosity of the Human Family Unity Foundation.
Ooh,